Hey folks, it's Eric from Supportive Venture, and in this video I'm going to tell you how to hire a manager for your MSP, what to look for, and how to find someone who's going to bring your MSP into the next level of prosperity. So, I mean, basically, in dealing with so many MSPs through my staffing and outsourcing business, Supportive Venture, we've seen what management looks like when it's done well, and how the team spirit can sort of be managed and mediated by somebody who embodies the values of the company and adds a level of structure and sort of consistency to it. We've also seen some very sort of suboptimal management styles, and usually it tends to be either people who are promoted from the wrong positions to be a manager or taking on an additional role when they really don't have management skills that help people thrive, let's say. So first of all, I'll tell you what you don't want in a manager. You don't want someone who's a salesman and someone who's an executive sort of schmoozer to be the manager. That's like more of a CEO. That's more of a business development manager. You don't want that person being your manager. So if you're the owner of a company and you have one of those people, it's probably a mistake to just assume that they can manage your business and that they'll have the consistency to sort of drive the team and their morale. So you also don't want to find someone who's super technical and good at being a technician to be the manager. A book that I really like is called The E Myth, and it's a business classic. And it basically says that in each business, in each entrepreneurial venture, there's three types of people: the technician, the manager, and the entrepreneur. And basically, when you start out your business, you have to be all three. And a lot of the reason why small businesses fail is because people are all three and they start out as a technician who just wants to be their own boss. And then they really fail to manage themselves properly. Put in the consistency, and they really fail to drive their endeavors with an entrepreneurial vision. So basically, what a manager does is they will drive the technicians in an MSP to achieve consistent results that bring deliverables to the clients and sort of in terms of service. So as if say you've graduated and you've started from the ground up as the technician who then got good at sales, and you've grown your MSP, hired a couple other technicians, and you're kind of being held back from growing the business further by managing the technicians, and you want to hire somebody who is going to step in there, and they're going to bring order to the help desk so that you don't have to step in on every issue requiring technician management. It's a very important step to take, and the two things you want to avoid are hiring people that have overlapping weaknesses. The technicians will have overlapping weaknesses as you do because they once started out as technicians, and they won't look at things from a human oriented sort of perspective. They won't look at people and what motivates them. The problem with having super smart technicians in your MSPs is they tend not to understand people, and how that not everybody has as much experience as them, is as smart or as good at problem solving as them, and a lot of these technicians will just end up working well alone and not in teams. So to interface with these people, you need managers, and you need managers to manage roles like dispatch, roles like the frontline technicians, and they're all very different than the senior manager, and the senior manager will not have the skill to do this. Also, you as a executive, a CEO, or you know somebody who is at the top of the business should really be looking at the whole system, and you want to put somebody underneath you who is more detail oriented. In another very good genre of business books that I like, there's one called, what's it called, the How to Be a Great Boss by Gino Wickman, and there's also one called Rocket Fuel. And I forget what the organization is called, something also with E, but it's EOS, Entrepreneurial Operating System, something like that. And basically what they say is there's two types of people: the visionary is sort of like, I've got this dream of this business, how it's serving people, all that stuff. And then the operations person, the integrator, who actually makes everything function consistently, who makes everything. The example they give in that book, Rocket Fuel, is basically the person who makes the trains run on time, because Entrepreneurs tend to be scattered and inspired people who jump from thing to thing with all so many insights, all so many opportunities to look at different aspects and understand them really quickly, sort of like the technician does in the MSP, the brilliant technician. And so you need a manager who, first of all, is more oriented on providing structure, stability, and consistency, and has a passion for people and procedures. So a passion for people and procedures means that they're very used to checking in with people and listening to feedback and looking at procedures that they're giving those people to run their jobs with and looking at the results of those and having a passion for sort of tweaking relationships, making sure they've got the right person in the right position, the right seat on the bus, as they say, and making sure that the procedures that those people are given to do their job provide a certain consistency and a predictable outcome for how the people are going to work their days and how the clients are going to receive service from the help desk, how the projects are implemented, and all that sort of stuff. So it's really important that you have someone who integrates a detail oriented approach that's based on metrics, that's based on numbers, that's based on consistency, that's based on standards that you're enforcing with the staff, that's based on written documentation, checklists, and stuff that sort of need to be fulfilled. Because the entrepreneur, and if you have that manager doing that job, you as an entrepreneur can soar above all of that and have visions about how the business, and then you give it to the integrator and they implement those visions. That's how it's supposed to work. If you hire someone to work, if you hire a bunch of people who have overlapping weaknesses to you and they don't behave and you don't make them behave with consistency, then you'll just end up with a mess of people making excuses and clients getting inconsistent service and eventually complaining and not having a great opinion of your service. So the manager is really the center of the business. The manager is the one who works on the business with you as the visionary and owner of the business or the executive in the business. And they work with people who work in the business. Someone like a dispatcher. A dispatcher would be a person who is running procedures that are assigned, procedures that are designed by the manager. And these procedures are designed by the manager and handed to the dispatch who will run them consistently. Like, you know, look at every ticket that's on the service desk every day and make sure that all of the tickets have next steps defined in the ticket notes. And if any of them don't, go to the technician and ask why. And when an escalation happens, make sure that these steps are followed. When an SLA, the dispatch would be the one getting the alerts that SLA is about to expire or be breached. And they would have a certain procedure that they follow based on that. So it's important to think, okay, so now you've got sort of like three levels of management or supervision of the technicians and their work. So you've got the visionary CEO at the top, who's also, sort of in charge of the client, high level relationships, the sort of like business development wing, sales and marketing could be an offshoot of that someone else is reporting to them for that. And then they need to be able to hand deals that they've signed down to the manager who's going to implement them, get the client onboarded according to a certain sort of method that maybe the CEO has designed based on their visions of how the business should work. How should the person be onboarded? And how should the documentation be done, and and they should design how should that client be serviced, how many technicians should be on the desk. The manager will decide all of those things. That's the second level of management. And then below that you have a supervision level, which is the dispatcher or service coordinator, who will make sure that the system that the manager and the visionary CEO have designed is being implemented and consistently done. So at the top, visionary. Next, big picture sort of details guy. I know that's a contradiction, but the person who's looking at the system and designing it. Then below that, process-based detail, procedures, standard operating procedures, SLAs, fulfilling them, getting clients followed up with, chasing up this, chasing up that, chasing up a technician for this, chasing up a vendor for this, a client for this, based on the ticket notes, based on chasing up, whatever needs to be done as a routine procedure that is defined as their essentially code or their daily duties on what to do to keep the help desk moving, that's the supervisor, dispatcher, service coordinator role. And basically, the result of all of this is you have technicians who are going to be sitting there getting tickets, hopefully not picking up calls from people. The dispatcher could handle that, but or you could do intake tissues. There's another video about this anyway. But you have these technicians who are able to do work that they feel comfortable with and hopefully even enjoy, one after another, according to the procedures set out and enforced by the management and dispatch, and so that they work on one ticket after another with as little chaos as possible. When they can't solve something, if it's out of their realm based on a lack of documentation or something like that, they escalate to the service coordinator. And if they have the procedures, if the service coordinator can assign that to another technician who can solve it, so on and so forth, they do that, and it doesn't have to go to the manager. But once there's something that's out of size, out of process, out of the procedures that have been set up by the manager will get escalated that ticket. And over time, they will design new procedures to handle new situations and all of that jazz. And if there's a complaint from a client, it should go to the manager. If through the dispatch to the manager, and they should tweak whatever is necessary or discipline whoever is necessary. And usually it would be because someone hasn't followed a procedure. If engineers as frontline engineers are supposed to work on a ticket for 30 minutes before escalating, the dispatch has to make sure that they're doing that. And if they're not doing that, they need to escalate that to the manager, who will go in and say, hey, your job is to hand over the tickets after 30 minutes if you haven't solved them, so you can go into the next one. Why aren't you doing that? That's part of your job. We've told you it's in writing right here on this document. Here's the link to that document. It's well indexed. This is your job. This is the role. These are the procedures. Dispatch is going to alert me if you're not following this, and we need you to do that. And if it's all well defined, then you have a guy on top, like me in Supportive Venture, who's I started this business and built up these procedures, hired these levels of management piece by piece. And now I sit on the top, and based on my insights of the industry, I can make videos like this for you, and I can have conversations with people like you who run MSPs, and let you know how I have a team below me that can deliver, some of the best staff in the world for MSPs, and basically consult on your MSP and give you ideas on how you can make your MSP better. That's the position I've elevated myself to. I couldn't really do that if I hadn't handed over a lot of the responsibilities for running the day-to-day work of Supportive Venture to competent management, competent supervision, and technicians who know what the deal is, what they're supposed to be doing, and what their job is, and what it looks like when they're doing it well, and who have a framework of accountability to catch it when they're not doing it well. So with all that in place, I'm able to sit and make these videos for you, and it's all because I found those great people who have skills that I lack in details and running the systems that I envisioned and defined and built, and I handed it to them. And those have systems they've handed to other people, and sort of guidelines and philosophies, values, and cultural sort of ways of communicating that I've sort of made my baby, which is this company. So if you want any help in defining that sort of thing for your company and knowing how to structure a help desk so that it runs without your phone ringing, your email, getting random emails all the time, random phone calls, random chats from your staff members, you need competent management. And I can help you consult on this. We can also give you great staff for dispatch. And even sometimes we get people who are able to do service desk management jobs applying for a company, and we can give you a remote service desk manager or a service desk management consultation based on our work. I've got 2 guys working for me right now who are actually former service desk managers and service delivery managers at MSPs that had 20, 35, 40 technicians. So lots of wisdom there. So if you're trying to grow your MSP, having management is key. Thanks a lot. My name is Eric from Supportive Venture, and I'll catch you later.